and thank you for joining us. Today we do part two of the build-up to the Nigerian elections, with literally just hours counting before voters go to the poll. Now, a long-delayed election will be taking place in Nigeria this weekend, as the original date was put off due to security concerns relating to the continued fight against the Boko Haram terrorist group. Muhammadu Buhari of the All Progressives Congress opposition party, who briefly ruled the country in the 1980s after a military coup, will attempt to defeat incumbent Goodluck Jonathan of the People's Democratic Party. Now, in recent months, Boko Haram has stepped up its campaign in Nigeria's northeast, and violence has spread to neighboring countries. Nigeria has the largest economy in Africa and is a major oil producer. So, in its most important election since democratic rule was restored in 1999, the world will anxiously await the results. Joining me in studio tonight is a panel of experts to help us talk more on the much-anticipated Nigerian elections. First of all, in my far right is the resident analyst, Mr. Adetunji Omotola. And then just sitting next to him is Nonye Mpo Omotola, a communications specialist. And right next to me is Mr. Omariji Ogboro. Mr. Omariji Ogboro is a practicing attorney, a political analyst, and an entrepreneur here in South Africa. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. In fact, he's also the former APC chairperson. All right. Thank you and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Now, we're talking about these elections. I was with Mr. Adetunji yesterday, and we were talking about the contenders. Everybody has been, it seems like we have a whole lot of other contenders, people that are also campaigning for the presidential seat. But two seem to be leading the campaign. That is Mr. General Muhammadu Buhari and President Goodluck Jonathan. And just yesterday, we cut you off as we were doing a comparison of the two contenders. Who has really brought up a stronger campaign? Who seems to have a stronger point in this campaign? Would you like to just pick it up from there?
Yes, look, I've said many times before that the APC, they were very clever in terms of, if you look at the coalition of parties that came together. If you recall, 4 years ago, General Muhammadu Buhari, he got 12 million votes in the election. He was seen as a northern candidate. And President Jonathan was seen as a breath of fresh air. He had never ruled the country before, and people felt that he should be given a chance. When you look at the style of the two contenders, General Buhari has been focused in terms of saying, look, corruption and security, this is what I'm coming to stamp out. He said that at Chatham House. He's clearly seen as a disciplinarian. His record speaks for itself. When he ruled Nigeria 31 years ago, war against indiscipline, he was very harsh against corrupt politicians. In fact, some of them died in prison. And whereas the president, on the other hand, he's been quite, his campaign has not had the same excitement as Buhari's campaign. False starts here and there. When he goes on campaigns, he's been stoned in some places. In Gombe, there was a bomb attack just 2 minutes after he left. People felt that the president had not done enough to really position his campaign. And also what is important is, when you look at the corruption issue, you probably recall that this government has not really been strong on anti-corruption. And that's why President Jonathan, every time he talks about fighting corruption, people don't really take him seriously, because they look at it that all the people that have been indicted in his government, none of them have been sacked. None of them have been prosecuted. So Buhari looks good to go in terms of the corruption issue, also because of his military
he comes in rather brutal.
Absolutely. Not only that, he's a very strict person. You can see from his disposition, he doesn't really say a lot, but when he says something, he speaks to what he's got strong convictions about. And I think their style is also very different. President Jonathan is more amiable. He's more of an assuming person. In fact, the former president said that there are 5 presidents in Nigeria. He alluded to the fact that the president was weak. That doesn't really help the president's case. And Buhari, nothing has been said about him being weak, although the ruling party has said he's an Islamist, that he will be sympathetic towards the terrorists. And I think that is the major difference. You have one guy who's very clear, focused, and the other guy who's more of a relaxed person, not really aggressive on any particular issue. But what he's got going for him is that he's been able to inject some energy into the economy, and that is his major draw card.
Okay, now you, as a former APC chairperson, how would you compare the two contenders?
Okay, APC chairperson in South African chapter
Okay.
in diaspora. Okay, from my own standpoint of view, it's just that I would say Buhari is. The people want a change. It's just a high time. We just want to have a change, and the only point is just that as an ex-military ruler and a fellow that probably has some military touch in him, and he's been a president in the past, and he wants to come in now and just make a change. So, but to me, obviously, as a former chairperson of the APC, obviously I will stand for Buhari.
Okay, you talk about change, but we're talking about General Buhari, who has ruled before and is coming back again. Is that really a change, though? Can one actually refer to that as a change?
Yeah, but we have to understand one thing, that he ruled Nigeria as a military dictator. Then, then it was a trend with the military rule. But now, ever since the emergence of democracy in Nigeria, he has the right to obviously come back. Our former president, Obasanjo, was a military leader, so there's nothing wrong him coming back to rule the country, you understand? So as much as the precedent has been set by Olusegun Obasanjo, he as well too is coming back as well to come in and have a change. You see, the people are clamoring for change. We just need a change, and there's just nothing wrong about that.
Just a change in different, a different thing altogether, completely different change of power and change of government. Now, viewers, please note that we have opened our lines. You can call us in. Let's hear your contributions, your questions, your comments, anything that you want to share, especially viewers in Nigeria. We would like to know what is currently happening in Nigeria. What is the position? What are the security concerns there? What is happening on the ground? So give us a call on the numbers that are appearing on the screen right now and talk to us. Now, one issue that I know in every government when there's an election is of major concern. That is the gender equality. Do we actually have female contenders in this particular election? I'll ask that to Nonye.
I believe we do. We have a lady. We have a 60-year-old grandmother. I believe she's a retired French teacher, and she is running, and I think is the first female presidential candidate that Nigeria has seen. So that's a commendation to her. As to whether she will get there is another story, but for the fact that she has stepped out in a population of over 170 million people, and with our democracy as it stands, I think that is a good feat. I believe that the Nigerian government cabinet has about 8% of women, whereas in somewhere like South Africa, I think is about 42%, Rwanda about 50%, and in places like as far as UK is about 25%. So it's very obvious that female participation in politics or in government is not enough.
Is it because the government doesn't do much to support the females?
I think it's a two-way street. I think women have to step out more. And sometimes there are a lot of dynamics that prevent women from stepping out more. It could be confidence, it could be home scenarios, it could be career. It could just be the fact that in societies that are very patriarchal, that space is not given as much as one would expect. But, we can't sit back and say we're waiting for the governments to do. We have to also stand out and, and align ourselves with the values that we believe in, because women, we're the ones who are the nurturers. We're the ones that people come to for solace. So there's a lot more that we can give, whether it's in corporate or public government fields. Women are really great leaders, potential leaders. And sometimes it just requires for women to have the right kind of mentorship, and for other women who have gotten there, so to speak, to help. I was at a conference 2 weeks ago, and it was all about Africa Rising, women in Africa Rising. And a very well positioned female bank MD in Nigeria, she said, when you get into the elevator and you get to the top, send the elevator back down for the other ladies to get in. So send the elevator down. Don't get there and get stuck.
And forget about people
Don't forget about those ladies, because they need you. And I think that's one of the key things I've taken away from that as well.
Okay. Now, a recent survey conducted just a few days ago shows that General Muhammadu Buhari is in a much stronger point with regards to votes as compared to President Goodluck Jonathan. Does that really put him in the actually, in fact, let me just give you a little bit of stats. According to this research, it says that a survey conducted a few days ago emphatically confirmed that Muhammadu Buhari is on track to win the 2015 presidential elections with about 32.3 million total votes counted, while Goodluck Jonathan will obtain about 7.7 million votes. The combined tally for the two candidates will average about 40 million votes. Now, that's a huge margin. Your comment, please.
Look, I think that polls in Nigeria are very recent. And I always believe that in Nigeria, when they talk about 50 shades of grey, in Nigeria it could be a million shades of grey. Nigerians are rumor mongers, they're very sensational, and they're people who are doing these polls purely to be noticed. I wouldn't take any polls seriously. But what I would say is that the APC has fought a very good campaign. They've been focused on two critical issues, corruption and security. President Jonathan has been in power for 5 years. PDP has been in power for 16. People have seen the extent of what PDP can do and what they cannot do. Nigerians, I mean, we have currently petrol shortage, economy is in decline because we've relied on a mono economy. There's a lot of graft, there's oil theft, there's a lot of things that are going to haunt the ruling party at these elections. But having said that, I believe that when you look at the two candidates, the campaign for me, if we look at a modern election, has not been sophisticated. I think they've been caught in character assassination. They've been caught up in lack of ideology. Even when the APC candidate spoke at Chatham House, I expected and I have a dream speech for Nigerians, for him to talk to women, for him to talk to the youth, for him to talk to diaspora, for him to talk about energy, for him to talk about even agriculture. Because Nigeria, we have so much arable land, and also to talk about unity of the country, irrespective, and then to also look at international relations, the image of the country.
Okay,
How do
sorry,
we
I'm
fix
just going to
it?
cut you
That's
there.
fine.
We have a caller, but I think I can't really hear them now. But we have a caller on the line. Good evening, and thank you for calling.
Yeah, good evening. This is Teji calling from Oruro, Nigeria.
Yes,
Oruro,
sir.
Delta State, Nigeria.
Yes, go ahead, please. What is the situation in Nigeria right now?
Yes, presently in Nigeria here, talking particularly from Delta State, which is one of the southern states in the southern part of the country. I want to let you know that the political view of people has changed greatly. It's no longer a time where people vote along the religious line and cultural or what have you. Presently in this part of this country, largely dominated by Christians, our view here is that of a change. We really want to change this country irrespective of the religious and whatever sentiment that has been existing in the past. Presently, I want to let you know that 90% of the Deltas are ready to vote for Muhammadu Buhari. You understand? Because we've been waiting for things for a very long time now. Trusted so much in Jonathan being someone from the southern part of this country, but from what we've seen so far, he has failed us. Using myself as an example, a graduate of civil engineering from the University of Benin for the past 4 years after my graduation, there has not been job or anything doing. You understand? President Jonathan promised us job creation and a whole lot of other promises like healthcare. But up to a couple of months before his expiration of his office, yet to achieve any of those promises. I'm telling you that we are very much behind the General Muhammad Buhari.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for that comment. Now, this caller is talking about him rallying behind, the people in his particular area running behind General Buhari.
No, I think it's just a very practical example. The caller now is from Niger Delta. He's calling from Delta State. I'm Niger Delta, and we must take cognizance of the fact that we are now not going on ethnicity, where you come from, if you're Yoruba or you're Niger Delta or you're Hausa. The people are tired. The people are extremely
But doesn't that play
tired.
a big... In fact, that brings me to my next question.
Yes.
That the religion,
Yeah.
doesn't it play a big role in politics in Nigeria?
No, it does then, but now it's not really playing any big role now, because it's cutting across even the Muslims and the Christians, and everyone is clamoring for that particular change. If I have to pick from my colleague Adetola, he picked on some very vital point in terms of the two characters. I'm disappointed as well too, because both characters concentrated so much on character assassination. There were just nothing
As opposed
about,
to talking about what really
to
moves
be,
the country
I'm APC.
forward.
You see, the thinking, we are in diaspora, we've lived our lives here, and you see, I'm highly very disappointed when it comes to that. Both candidates, to me, zero. If I have to score both of them, I just give them zero, because they fail to address the issue of economy, security, empowerment of the youth, and so many issues were just, rather, you're going after Buhari's qualification, you're going after petty things, which I feel it's not, to me, it's not relevant for now for Nigerian politics, you understand? So they should please concentrate on what they need to do. Like many of us, we are here in the diaspora, we want to go back home, we want to give back our skills back home. We've spent our years here in South Africa. You understand? They reach a point, the system will reject us. There comes a point, that's my philosophy. The system will just have to reject us. We have to just go back home. The brain drain is extremely going down, so we just want to go back home. We want a change, irrespective of who is there. We don't really care who is coming to rule us, but we just need, and they should concentrate more on productive argument, constructive argument, not character assassination. That's my view.
Your comment, please.
Yeah, I think when we talk about Nigeria politics, we have to also remember that we are announced as Africa's largest economy. So our politics affect the greater continent.
Okay, sorry, I'm just going to hold you there. We have a caller. Good evening, and thank you for calling.
Good evening.
Yes, where are you calling us from, sir?
I'm calling from the Niger Delta, Port Harcourt in particular.
Okay. Go ahead, please, with your comment, your question.
Well, from my own view, I don't think the APC, I'm not really a politician, but I don't think the APC has a strong ground right there. Because, when it comes to their manifesto, you don't really have anything offered to Nigeria. The meet was organized by the Nigerians for the APC to participate, to outline what they have to give to Nigerians, but they refused to participate. Which it shows they have an hidden agenda they don't want to give to Nigeria, they don't want to tell to Nigeria. While the incumbent president, participate with other concessions, he humbled himself and participated. He told people what he has done and what he intends to do.
Okay.
So, for me, I think APC has nothing to offer to Nigeria. They don't have anything. They don't have any good intentions with Nigerians. I'm not a politician, but for what I've seen, I don't think they have anything. I think Jonathan should just wait for the election to come and go first. Let's see the result of it. Because right as it stands now, I don't think anyone can reach the elections.
Okay, thank you very much.
Free and
Okay, thank you. Well, that's a different view there from. It seems like Niger Delta is really participating much. You were saying something before I actually.
I was just saying that. I mean, this gentleman is saying he's not a politician, but I don't think it's about being a politician. It's about being a citizen, and it's about what it is that you feel is right for your society and for your country and for the continent as a whole. Nigeria is announced as Africa's largest economy, and that's a huge feat. But what are the things that behind Africa's largest economy? There's a lot of issues that we need to address as a society, as governments. I particularly cannot say that, it's going to be this party or that party, but whoever it is, I think them and their team have to consolidate what plan they have for the country. And if those issues haven't been addressed and articulated, then there's not much faith in either any of them, actually, as far as I'm concerned. When we talk about Nigerians in diaspora and brain drain, we have a lot of intelligent Nigerians around the world who fit into so many different scopes of, industry or sector. And I think we were opportune to meet President Jonathan about 2 years ago when he came to Cape Town. And we sat with him and had a conversation, and we spoke to him about Nigerians in diaspora, what they can bring, the skill sets they can bring, what they can add in terms of value. I don't know that I've seen much of that in terms of how it's been implemented or followed up on. And those are the kind of things that we would expect to be seen, because so many of us are doing so many things. We're doctors, we're this, we're communication specialists, we're entrepreneurs, we're so many of us, but what are they doing with us? So it really does hurt when we see our country not, doing the greatest, not meeting its potential. We talk about General Buhari and Jonathan. Couldn't there have been more? Couldn't there have been different candidates, new candidates, breakout candidates? Where are they? Should there have been any one of us? What's stopping us? And these are some of the issues that we need to drill down as a society.
Okay, now she raised a beautiful point that there's only, it seems like, I did also mention it earlier, that it seems like there's only two people that are actually going for this presidential seat. That is President Goodluck Jonathan and General Muhammadu Buhari. It seems we're not getting much.
There's actually, sorry if I can come in, there's actually in this election, you see, I think what tends to happen is that people hear those who make the loudest noise. If you look at Nigeria's elections since 1960, in fact 79, 83, 99 and so on.
Okay, before you go on, we'll just take a call. Good evening and thank you for calling.
Yeah, good evening. This is Frank calling. I have to speak.
Okay, go on please.
I want to contribute to the show. The point is that in Ayasa crisis, we need to put something.
Could you please just turn down the volume of your TV set so that we can hear you clearly?
Because we certainly believe in we sincerely believe in continuity and the transformation agenda is working for us, because looking at the situation in Nigeria, Nigeria is a developing state, a developing country. Development comes not just in a single day turnaround. It's going to take a gradual process for we to actually get in there. There are lots of errors, there are lots of wrongdoings, there are lots of resources, mismanagement of this and that. But the fact is this: when we look at in this election for tomorrow, I don't see General Muhammadu Buhari going anywhere, because he has been in power, and since in command, serving the war against discipline at that time. So I don't see Buhari going anywhere in terms of security and corruption, because Nigeria as a country has come to stay, and corruption is almost everywhere found in every country in this world.
Okay. Okay, thank you. We just have to keep it brief there. But he's talking about corruption within the government. That is something that has long been spoken about with regards to the Nigerian government. But you were saying something before we move on to that point.
And I'll touch on what the gentleman is saying quickly. Look, every election in Nigeria, there's always multi-parties. It's multi-party elections. In this election, there's a gentleman called Chekwa Sokori. He's run 4 times. The last election, there was Chris Okotie. There was Ribadu for ACN. There was Shekarau, who is now the Minister for, I believe, Education. He's crossed over from ANPP to go into Jonathan's government as a minister. He got 1 million votes. I think people who are not serious about politics, they only hear those who make the loudest noise. And that's why I'm excited about the lady who's running. But typically what people do is that you've got to have a base, and you've got to have money to run, if there's 70 million voters, you've got to reach every local government. There's 774 local governments in Nigeria. There are 36 states. Mass media costs money. They're going to charge you to put an advert out. So if you don't have money, there's no point in running for president. Even in America, Obama raised $600 million. It's a big business. Now, in terms of what the gentleman is talking about, in fact, many of the callers have alluded to PDP, Jonathan, continuity, developing state. If you look at the current budget, 2015 budget, the government
We
kept
have another
moving.
caller. We
Okay,
have
that's
another
fine.
caller.
That's fine.
Good evening and thank you for calling.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, could you just give us your comment, your question, but just try and keep it brief, please. Go ahead.
Okay, my situation is this. Buhari, General Muhammadu Buhari, some of the things he put up are not really comfortable with us, some of us in Nigeria here. He was called for debate. He didn't come. He has been called several times for debate. He didn't come, to come and say his mind and what he would do for Nigerians. He didn't come for the debate. The Twitter panel invited him. He didn't come to defend himself with some of the allegations and everything that was made to him. He has proved himself. He has proved himself over time above the law, and he is not supposed to be our president. Then secondly, most of the APC members are the people that defected from PDP to APC. And they are the people that have been ruling this country ever since. And now they're talking about change. The change they didn't effect when they were in PDP, are they now going to effect it when they come over to APC? Are they not the same people? So what we are talking about here is Nigerians knowing the right thing to do and doing the right thing at this critical time in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I think this is more in line with what you were saying.
Look,
Yes.
we have to look at the facts. I was talking about the 2015 budget. The government, even in the face of oil prices falling apart, they kept to a figure, $78 a barrel. Then they moved it down to 73. Then they moved it down to 65. And then the Senate said, look, let's put it at 52. If you look at the current budget, only $2 billion will be spent on capital expenditure for a country that doesn't have electricity infrastructure. And guess what? About $20 billion of the budget will be spent on paying salaries of presidents, buying extra jets and buying an ostrich or buying all sorts of things. The PDP government has to put his house in order. The opposition is strong because of the PDP's inability to be able to manage its own affairs and the country. And that is why it's quite unfortunate. Even the defections, it's because of the crisis within the PDP, where people felt that they were crowded out, that they moved to the, and politicians have to find another space. It happens in South Africa. EFF was set up, people moved into a hang, the parliament. I mean, people like Cope, they came out of the ANC. It's perfectly all right to decamp. But sadly, unfortunately, APC has to, they're the ones who have to come and take the game from the PDP, because PDP has been there for 16 years. And in my view, they've been complacent on many levels. I mean, the immigration disaster, for example, the minister is still there. There's so many examples of complacency. And that is the sad situation.
All right, now I want us to talk about, I know you did dismiss some of the reports as just rumors, being spread by rumor mongers. But whilst we're still doing the comparison between the two contenders, there have been some concerns that have been raised. I'll give you two of such examples. Some reports have suggested that the survey results, in fact, Morocco's official news agency, MAP, reports on March the 10th that the country's ambassador had been recalled from Nigeria because King Mohammed had been used as an election campaign in Nigeria. A story that the Moroccan government has completely denied, but somehow caused some controversy amongst Nigerian politicians. What would be your? I would love to hear from all three. What would be your comment with regards to that? The same way that we have also had one politician who has been accused for corruption being re-elected into government by President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. Hence,
I'll be brief in my response to that so that I can allow my colleagues to speak. Okay. Look, I have always said that the standard for truth, who is setting the standard for truth? in
Okay.
this in
Before
this
you
election.
before you give me that, hold that thought. Okay, fine. We've just lost that caller.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Who sets the standard for the truth in Nigeria? Who sets the standard? Because if you look at even with regards to the missing girls, at first the army said, look, we know where the girls are. In fact, we've rescued all the girls bar 8, and then later the principal screamed and said the girls had gone. And up till today, a year later, there's no strong effort to rescue those girls. So when you're talking about the Moroccan issue, it's part and parcel of a system where lies have become the truth and the truth have become the lies.
So you're dismissing this as not being true.
Well, I don't know the facts. All I am saying is that the opposition jumped on it as if it was a national emergency. What I'm saying to you is that in Nigeria, right now, especially in this political season, there's a lot of information flying around. Oh, Jega had a meeting with Buhari or APC in Dubai. His qualifications are not up to school set level. A former president. I mean, the mischief that is going around, you can create an industry. What I'm talking about is a government that needs to focus on the issues. The average Nigerian on the street that is running after a car in traffic, selling airtime. Is that the kind of Nigeria we want after 55 years of billions of dollars of oil being pumped out of our land every day and degrading that Niger Delta?
Okay, let's hear from the lady. What would be your comment with regards to
I'd
this?
say that all governments have embarrassing situations which they have to handle. I mean, I wasn't there. It would have been nice to be in Morocco, but I wasn't, and it would have been nice to be in Nigeria, but I'm not in both countries.
Okay, I'm just going to ask you to hold that thought. We have another caller. Good evening and thank you for calling.
Hello, I'm Prince from Johannesburg.
Yes, Praise. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, I'm a Nigerian by that. What I want to say concerning the election, my contribution is this.
Okay, we've just lost that caller. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was just saying that all governments encounter embarrassing situations which they have to deal with diplomatically. As someone who's not part of that, I couldn't really espouse what would have happened there. Again, I will go back to what are the issues. That to me is not a major issue. The issue is we have no electricity in most of Nigeria. The issue is that we import the oil that we import crude oil back into the country, which could be used to develop and manufacture different kinds of products like candle, wax, tar for roads and stuff. The issue is that we have a lot of a population of about 70% of them are youth. What are they doing in terms of employment? I understand the government has run the transformation agenda, and I've been very privileged to interview our Minister of Finance and Coordinating of the Company, Okonjo-Iweala, and she sat down and spoke about what it is that they are doing. We want to hear more of what that is. That is the thing that we want to hear. That's what the Nigerian populace need to hear. There need to be presentations, there need to be facts, stats, figures repeatedly shown to the populace so we can see. Do you understand? And not have these little issues. Moroccan, whatever. I'm not really interested in that. I want to know what's going to happen if my child goes back to the country.
Just my comment on the Morocco saga is just, to me, it's a political propaganda for now. We should stop concentrating on so much propagandist and propaganda going around, and we should just concentrate on the election tomorrow, because if I have to go back to February 14th, the postponement of the election.
Okay, so I'm just going to ask you to hold that thought. We have another caller. Good evening and thank you for calling.
Hello, how are you?
Very well, thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yeah, what I want to say about this election, I'm calling from Northwest Klesdorp. My name is Prince.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I want to say about this election is that, in the States, what we need is somebody can give you a right leader. You see? So what I'm saying is that we should allow the Goodluck Jonathan to lead another 4 years so that we will see what he is going to achieve. Because to rule is not easy. Because you can't be faithful to everyone. You will be good to others, you won't be good to others. So that is what I'm saying.
Are you calling from Nigeria?
No, I'm calling from South Africa.
South Africa, okay, all right, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay, thank you very much.
Is that I am going to say, thank you.
Okay, you will.
What I was saying earlier on was that going back to February 14th, the postponement, that was just a message to show to Nigerians that obviously that was APC was just obviously going to rule the country, and it was glaring that they were going to make it through, you know. And but now, if I have to go back to the caller that just called, you know, we have to look at the issue of voting in diaspora. That's what, you know, when during the debate, we wanted a debate from the two parties, and this.
And you raised the concerns of Nigerians living in the diaspora as to how they can also contribute to this election.
Exactly. You know, you see, if not now, but subsequent, like 4 or 5 years from now, you know, but they're concentrating in so much character assassination, propaganda.
Do you think that will ever happen, though, that Nigerians in the diaspora will ever be catered for?
It will happen if the diaspora are organized.
It will.
Because one of the things that we are doing as the Guild of Nigerian Professionals is we've decided that we're going to weigh in. We're going to speak. Because our democracy, the people that actually died for this democracy, Abiola, Rewani, Abisoye Tejosho, 70-year-old woman hacked to death in a bedroom in Tejosho in Lagos. Those people, this is not what they died for. So we can't sit here and wait for the people in Nigeria to fight for us.
Okay, we're just going to take a call
That's
again
fine.
before we close out. Good evening, and thank you for calling. Hello? Yes, please go ahead with your comment.
I'm calling from Cotonou.
Okay. I think that connection is not... Okay, I don't think that connection is good. Hello, can you hear us clearly, sir?
Hello?
Okay, I don't think that connection is clear. Please go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, even in South Africa is the anchor for foreign direct investment into Africa. And South Africa plays a major role in Nigeria, investments into Nigeria, banks, retail, property. There's a huge genre of South African investment. So we that we're here, we have a powerful voice, but we have to work together because many of our leaders, there are 2 flights from Nigeria into South Africa every day. But when we engage them, we must engage them on the issues. There's no way, I mean, we've met the president, we've met party chairman. What is their manifesto? Even PDP, even APC, we know, we've seen the manifesto. Is it comprehensive? Does it address the Millennium Development Goals? Maternal health, in terms of children going, there are 10 million Nigerian children of school age who are not going to school. It's an embarrassment. Because even when we went on TV to go and get excited about Africa's largest economy, people were asking us, how come there are 10 million children of school age who are not in school? Malnutrition, kwashiorkor, people working as recharge card sellers. That's not a job. There's no future. So we have to challenge
And
our
we're even
leaders.
talking about university graduates. In some
Absolutely.
instances.
Working, selling recharge card and working as security guards in a country where we have so much oil and we have so much bauxite, manganese, aluminium, copper. We have everything. But when we have leaders who only care about themselves and they wait for the election to go around telling us the same thing that we've heard before, that they're going to fight corruption, they're going to do this. Even Major Buhari himself, he needs to come under the microscope. Why didn't he go for the debate? Because 4 years ago, they went for a debate, Jonathan didn't come. Then Jonathan ended up at a debate on his own. I don't know why all this drama. Then this time Buhari didn't turn up for the debate. We've got to be mature. We can't be, this is not a pantomime. It's people's lives. And Nigeria's image is at stake. When we don't run our politics very well, we won't run our economy very well.
Okay, now because of time, we're just going to quickly round up. We'll let the ladies speak. What is your message to the people of Nigeria listening right now, and even the rest of the world? Because these elections are not only being closely watched by Nigerians, in fact, the whole world is closely watching these elections.
Nigerians are known to be very passionate people, very intelligent people, very intellectual people. If we're passionate, intelligent and intellectual, we have to stand up for what we believe is right for our country, what is right for our children and our children to come. We do want change, whether that change is Buhari, whether that change is for Jonathan to increase the tempo and to make sure that the manifesto that he sets down is accounted for. There must be accountability, and we want to see a change in all the indices that fail the nation.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Boris.
Yeah, all Nigerians should just go out and exercise their constitutional rights to vote. That's just all I can say. We just need a change, and that's it.
Okay, all right. Now that's a word coming from my panel of experts here for Nigerians to go and vote peacefully and make it work and move the country forward. Now, viewers watching at home, join me again tomorrow morning from 9 o'clock until 12 o'clock in the afternoon, as we also have another Worldview special as we cover the elections on the very day of voting. Nigerians go to the ballot tomorrow, which is Saturday, and we'll see how that turns out. Results probably expected in 72 hours, like you did say yesterday, 72 hours, but hopefully we could have them in 48 hours, because we would like to have them quick and know what is going on. So join me again tomorrow, 9 o'clock to 12 o'clock, here on Worldview. As for this, we are going away now. Thank you very much for being on the program, and good evening to all our viewers.